Right, welcome back to the channel everyone, welcome back to another video. I first off want to just apologise for the short little break in videos. It wasn't really something I planned, but after I'd finished the Skoda project, I didn't really know what to film, I didn't really know what to do with myself after that, so I just didn't film anything, and that's led to a little break in videos, but we're back now. So as you can probably tell by the title and the thumbnail of the video, something a little bit unexpected happened during my break. I wasn't planning on getting myself another project car. I really wanted to sell the Skoda before I got my hands on another one. However, sometimes things like this happen, the stars align, everything just sort of falls into place, and I've ended up with this car sitting behind me here as my next project. Now, as I said, I wasn't really on the lookout for a car at all. I just found myself on Facebook Marketplace, just scrolling as you do, bored one morning, and this popped up, and everything sort of just fit the bill for something that would make a perfect project for the channel. And so within about an hour of seeing it, I'd bought it, got it delivered here, and the car's now sitting behind me. So this car ticked all the boxes that I usually look for in a project. It was cheap, number one, which is always great. Number two is that it has a major mechanical problem, which is what we do on this channel. We buy cars that are pretty much destined for the scrap heap, we fix them up, and we give them another lease of life, and this is a perfect candidate for that. Also, the make and model of the car, if you can't already tell what it is behind me, it's just sort of the cherry on top of the cake. Once it's fixed, it's going to be a really nice car. So the plan for today is I'm going to give you a walk around it. I'm just going to show you around it, tell you what all the problems are that need fixing and all that sort of stuff, and basically just give you an introduction to the car. Right, so here it is. This is my latest addition to the fleet of cars. It is a 2007 Ford Mondeo Titanium. It's the 2-litre TDCI, so it's the diesel version. Now, I picked this car up for, drum roll, £500. Now, there's obviously a reason why it was so cheap, and I'll get to that shortly. But I think for £500, this is a heck of a lot of car for that sort of price. As you guys all know, I currently own a Mark III Mondeo, which is in a little bit of a sorry state. It needs some work done to it still. It's been off the road for a while, but this is the Mondeo St. This is the Mark III version, so I think it's a 2005, is it, this car? I can't even remember. Yeah, 2005 Mondeo St. So I am fond of Mondeos, I do like them. I do like this shape more than I like this shape, I'm not going to lie. But as I've already got one of these, I thought it'd be nice to get something a little different. So this is a little bit more modern. You can tell that it's a little bit more swish than what this one is. Although they do share a lot of similarities in terms of spec and all the stuff that they've actually got going for them. But as I said, this is the Titanium model, Titanium X TDCI, which I believe, and someone will tell me if I'm wrong, I believe that in the Mark IV model, that is the highest spec. I think I'm right in saying that. So that was one of the main selling points for this car for me. I wouldn't have been particularly interested if it was like a Z-Tech or one of the lower down models. But because this is the one with all the bells and whistles, and because of the price, I thought this would be perfect. So I'll just give you a general walk around. We'll have a look around the outside, just bodywork and stuff. From what I've seen, generally it just needs a clean up. The bodywork is pretty straight. There's no real sort of major dents or dings or scratches or anything like that. There's one piece on the back bumper that I've seen so far, but that's about it. So as you can see, it's in like a silvery bluey colour, I want to say. I don't really know what the colour is called, but it's sort of a silver with a tinge of blue in it. But it's quite nice, obviously 4-door. Nice, it's a massive car. It really is a big old thing. I thought that this thing was big, but this thing is even bigger. It's so chunky. So if we look around, you can see bodywork's quite nice. The wheels need refurbing. You can see that they look a bit sad. That's probably the nicest one out of the four, to be honest. They definitely need refurbishing at some point. So if we walk around, I've noticed that there's a little chunk taken out of this mirror, and this mirror doesn't fold in either. These are power fold mirrors, but this one doesn't fold in, so I've ordered a new one of them. If we look around, another problem we have is this driver's side headlight has had water ingress in it for a while, and you can see it's turned it into pretty much like a weird sort of fish tank lagoon in there. So this is going to be replaced as well. I've got a new one of them coming. This is the front of it. All looks quite nice. This is the pre-facelift model, I believe. So it's got the projector headlights, which is always nice. Coming around to this side, I've literally just noticed this, but there's a little bit of a dent here where it's been pushed in. Looks like it's like hit a pole or something. So we might work that one out. If we walk down this side, you can see all pretty straight, no major damage. Apart from here, there's a tiny little gouge out of the plastic bumper. I don't know if I'll bother sorting that out or whether we'll just keep that and just be one of the age-related marks. You can see the wheels are in a pretty horrid state, so we may end up refurbishing the wheels or maybe finding another set, I'm not sure. And then there's the back. Again, tiny little ding here where it looks like it's hit a pole, and there's a couple of paint chips, but for the most part it's in pretty good shape. If I go ahead and unlock it, I'll just show you in the boot, seeing as we're at the back of the car at the moment. Just have a look in here. Big old boot, very, very similar size, probably a bit bigger than the Mark III. There's a lot more room around the wheel well areas on this car, and as you can see, it's pretty grubby in here. We're going to have to give it a really good clean, just like what we did with the Skoda. For some reason, this is out, don't know why. They've tried to access the fuse box for some reason, not sure why that is. As you can see, big old boot on this thing, plenty of storage in there for carrying bits and pieces. If we then come to the back of the car, we'll have a look in the back seats. There's not really a lot that's interesting here. What's nice about this is because it's the titanium model, it has got the nice interior, which is half leather, and I want to say it's suede, but it could be Alcantara, I'm not entirely sure. But it's like a suede-y material. You can see leather around the outside, and then the cushiony bit that you actually sit on here, although very grubby, is I believe it's sort of like a suede-y material, but it's quite nice. We've got a centre cup holder thingy-majiggy here with a little, oh, there's some sweets in there. There you go, Haribo mini cheddars. So there's a little armrest there, lots of space, lots of leg room, and believe it or not, these seats in the rear, I've never had a car with this before, are heated. You can see there's the switches there for the heated seats. There's also a plug socket in the back there for charging phones and stuff like that, which is quite nice. There's also got electric windows in the rear, which is always nice. Leather door cards. That's pretty much what's all going in the back. The front is where all the magic happens. This interior is a really nice place to be. I haven't actually driven this car yet because of the issue that this car has. It wasn't able to be driven here. It was brought here on a low loader. I'll put a bit of footage of that in now. I didn't really get much footage, but my friend went and picked it up and brought it to me and just dropped it off in the garden over here. So, but yeah, this is a really nice place to be. I've sat in here a few times just getting a feel for everything, and it's a really comfortable place. This car is designed, you know, it's not a luxury car, I wouldn't say, but it has got a bit of a luxurious feel to it, where it's got all the bells and whistles and comfortable seats and lots of space and stuff like that. So matching the back, obviously we've got half leather, half, I'm just going to call it suede for now, half suede seats. Again, need a really good clean because they're filthy, but I can get the wet vac out on them, no problem. We've got cruise control and all the buttons and switches on the steering wheel. This model's got automatic lights, which is nice. Heated seats in the front, obviously. 6-speed gearbox. It's got dual climate control in here, air conditioning. I believe that this is a Bluetooth stereo, because it's got the ability to have your phone, so you've got little phone buttons here. MP3, 6 CD changer, heated windscreen, which on Fords is a lovely, lovely thing. My Mondeo over there has also got heated windscreen, and in the winter that is fantastic. This one has got keyless start, so I've got the button here. You put the key in the cup holder down here, that's where it lives, and then when you put the clutch down you can press that and the car will start. We've also got the addition of the screen on the dials. I know that the lower models don't have that, they just have like a little LCD screen. This one's got the nice, what is it, probably a 4 or 5 inch little LCD screen where you can go through all your menus. You've got your buttons on your steering wheel where you can go through, scroll through everything and all that sort of thing. Cruise controls on the wheel, just here. It's also got auto wipers. It's got the power folding mirrors as well. There's a button here you can press. Oh, the key's not on. Hang on. If I pick the ignition on, see, got the mirrors that'll fold in by the press of a button. There's a screen that just comes on like that. Got multiple airbags throughout. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 I think in here. There's 2 in the rear, 2 on the sides, and 2 in the front. So it's pretty well kitted out. It's a pretty safe car. Got a little ashtray. Got a nice little armrest here. Store some bits and pieces in there. It's just a really nice place to be, as you can see. Nice little cockpit. The only thing that for me that lets it down is this screen here. This is not, you know, it's not the nicest looking thing. I think if they put a screen in here, put all the effort into getting a nice little LED screen there, we could have got one here, you know, little LCD screen, 6 inch or something, touch screen. That would have really finished off the interior for me anyway. But other than that, it's a really nice place to be. I like it. There's also other little bits that aren't really worth mentioning, but it's got like footwell lights and then floodlights on the mirrors as well. So when you unlock it, that sort of lights up the floor for you, which is quite nice. I'm sure there's probably some other features that I don't know of yet and haven't come across them. You know, you really find these things when you start driving it, but I'm sure there's other bits. These windows look like they are factory tinted. It's not a very dark tint, but to me, and I don't know if it'll come across on camera, they sort of have like a bluish hue to them. They sort of have got like a tinge of tint to them. Not sure if that's a thing or not, but that's that. let's have a look under the bonnet, shall we? So the bonnet pull is on the passenger side on this car. Now, one of the letdowns for me on this car is on my other Mondeo over there, I've got bonnet struts. So when you lift the bonnet up, it'll go up automatically. Like the boot has struts, on the Mark III Mondeo, that has struts on the bonnet. Whereas on these cars, for some reason, even though it's the top spec, doesn't have them. You've got the traditional little hood prop, which is very annoying, and they will be changing that. As you can see, hood prop, what's all that about? Can't be having that. There's a kit you can get to change that out, and it allows you to fit struts to it, which kind of makes sense to me anyway. So under the bonnet, we have got quite a messy looking engine bay. I don't know what all this dust is. I'm not sure whether the person drove on dusty roads, but it looks like it's gone through the Sahara Desert. This sort of red looking dust everywhere, so this is going to have to get a really good clean, and I'll make sure I do that when I detail this thing. I haven't really spent much time under here. I haven't really had a look particularly at much of the engine stuff. Obviously checked the oil and fluids and stuff like that, but everything looks okay. This car has been very well looked after. I'll explain a bit more about that and how I bought it in a moment, but this car's been looked after. I could tell the MOT history is very good on it. It's had a pretty clean history from day one. I will just start out for you, and you can have a listen. Now I'm going to give away the problem here when I say this, but this car is hard to start at the moment. If I put the key in there, and usually in a keyless start car, you'll put the clutch down, won't you? And then you press the button. However, in this car, being the main problem is the clutch. There you go, I've just told you what it is. The clutch pedal is on the floor because I think the slave cylinder is burst or something like that. So the clutch pedal is not usable. There is no clutch pedal. And so you have to sort of get it in the right position and then press the button. There we go. Oh. And then she'll start, as you can see. So as you can probably hear, the engine sounds really good. You know, it just sounds like a typical diesel. It's not actually that loud, considering that Mondeo over there is a lot louder than what this one is. Noisy old thing, but yeah, it sounds all right. The engine sounds good. Just sounds like a typical sort of noisy diesel. There's no weird rattles, bangs, squeals, nothing like that. And this is the 2-litre TDCi engine. I'm not entirely sure what the engine code is. I'm sure someone will be able to tell me down below. It's different engine to what's in these. This is a 2.2. My dad's Mondeo is a 2-litre, but it's a different engine to this as well. Other than being just very, very filthy, it's pretty sweet. You won't just notice this, but it looks like the previous owner was a member of a caravan club.
First rule of caravan club is that everyone gets some.
Second rule of caravan club is don't tell anyone about the first rule because it's a massive lie.
Right, well I would say that's a pretty good look around this car. That should give you an idea as to what we're working with and what the car's all about. I'll show you more things in the future as we go along. If I find out any little details or any little cool things about the car, I'll obviously make sure I show it. But if you were paying attention in the last clip, when I started the car, you would have heard me say the main problem with this car. The reason I got it for 500 quid, mostly when you get cars that cheap, there's going to be quite a significant problem. Either the engine's going to be gone, or in this case, the clutch is gone. Now, when I say the clutch is gone on this thing, what I really mean is that the clutch pedal has gone. As you can see, the clutch pedal is completely on the floor. There's no pressure in there whatsoever. You can pull it up, but then it just goes straight down to the floor, and there's no hydraulic pressure in there whatsoever. So what I suspect has happened is not that the clutch is at fault, but rather the slave cylinder is at fault, which is the hydraulic piece inside the gearbox that actually pushes on the gearbox and engages it. Usually when the pedal goes to the floor, that is the culprit. But if you're in there and your slave cylinder's gone, there's a good chance that the fluid's leaked out, gone all over the clutch, contaminated the clutch, and while you're in there, you might as well put a new clutch and pressure plate on it anyway. So this is going to be a slave cylinder and clutch job. I've already ordered the 3-piece kit that comes, so we'll get that done. I find that you get the cars for the best price when the clutch is gone. Usually, I think a car like this is quite an involved job. It means subframe out. It means, you know, there's quite a lot of labour involved. So if you were to take this to a garage, even just an independent garage, I think the quote is somewhere up in like the £800 mark, something like that, just because there's so much work involved. And also the parts for these cars are not that cheap either. I've already bought the clutch kit for this and I paid £180 for it. So if you think £180 and then maybe 600 or £500–600 labour, you know, because it's quite an involved job at a garage, and people will quiver at that and they'll be like, no, I don't want to do that. I would much rather put that money into a new car and just get something fresh. The guy that I bought this off was a 70-year-old man. I don't know if he'll ever watch this video, but if you do, hello Graham, thank you very much for making this such an easy sale. I literally called the guy. He's had the car for 7 years, so I think there was only one previous owner before him from new. So this has only had 2 owners. For the last 7 years, it's been in the hands of a, you know, a 70-year-old pensioner. And you know that if you buy a car off someone like that, that's probably been looked after, there's a good chance that he's not been ragging it around, and he probably gets it serviced properly, because that's just how those sort of people are. So yeah, I was really happy with this purchase. Like I said, £500, needs a clutch, but it's something, because we can do it ourselves. The parts are 180 quid. When you add in maybe a couple of little things like a new headlight and new mirror, you know, this is going to be a sub £1,000 car. And these cars go for probably twice that when they're in working condition. So we can definitely get this car done for sub £1,000, I think. And it'll be a really nice car at the end. So let me just quickly run you through the plan, what I've got going on. Number one will obviously be the clutch. That is the main job that needs doing. So get the biggest job out of the way, make sure that this car is then up, driving and running. And then I'll just tackle the other little jobs. Very similar setup to how we did the Skoda. Do the main job first, get the big bulk of it out of the way, and then just tackle all the small things on the side. And then we're going to get through an MOT. The MOT on this thing is in April, so it's got quite a short MOT on it, but once it's had all the work done that I'm going to be doing to it, I think this thing will sail through. Put 12 months on it, and yeah, I think it'll be a good car afterwards. I don't know what the plan is with it afterwards. I haven't even thought about that yet. I picked it up basically just for content purposes. I figured it'd be interesting to film doing a clutch on one of these things. And yes, it's something we've never done before, and we've never had one of these Mondeos on the channel. Hope you guys are excited to see the videos on it. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't, so you can keep up to date with all the videos that come out. And I think that's kind of it. That's about all I've got to tell you right now. The next video you'll see on this thing, we will start dismantling all the engine bay and start the process of getting the gearbox out. And yeah, it's gonna be good fun. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate all you guys' support. If you're excited for the Mondeo content, make sure you give the video a thumbs up. It helps out the algorithm and helps my videos to get shared out more. I do just want to say as well, in one of my last videos, I did a competition for a giveaway for a set of Yum Cars products. I've picked the winner. I went online and did a random comment search on the Yum Cars video that I asked you guys to comment on. And the guy who won it, I think his name was G's Drive. I'll put it on the screen right now, you'll be able to see the overlay. But it was a random choice, random comment, and he's the guy that won it. So if you're watching this, I'll get in contact with you, I'll email, or if you can email me, my email is always in the description. So thank you everyone that entered. I think they got like 1,000 or so comments on the video, so it really blew up. I'll be doing more stuff like that soon, so make sure you watch out. And that's it, I'll see you guys in the next video.